What's up, Boss Patrick's Tekitha? Here we go.
Yay!
We made it happen.
Pardon me. I was like, wait a minute, update? How you mean?
Is that what it needed?
Yeah, I had to update, but I'm straight now.
Sounds good. How was everything on your Sunday?
Everything is well. It just came from a walk with my mom, daughter, and turn it up. I couldn't hear you. Um, just came from a walk with my mom and my daughter, so I'm feeling a little energized, feeling like I'm ready, for a little conversation on a Sunday morning or afternoon, I
Absolutely.
should say.
Yeah, and you're just
How are you?
up
What's
the street in
happening? Happy
Nashville,
Sunday.
Tennessee. Thank you so much. Let's get into a little bit of history lesson, then work our way up because you got some exciting things going on in 2021.
Yes.
So take us back to where you were born and raised.
I was born and raised, well, I was born in Stockton, California, and I was raised in Sacramento. Spent the bulk of my childhood and adolescence in Sacramento until, gosh, out of high school, which would have been, I'm about to date myself, which would have been 91. That was
Okay.
kind of like, after that is when I stretched my wings a little bit. But yeah, I'm a California girl, born and raised.
Take us back to a day in the life as a teenager in California for Tekitha.
Oh. Well, people may not know that I was a professional athlete. I was I was my city's Olympic hopeful for the 1992 games, and I had been a gymnast it's in gymnastics, pardon me, and I was a gymnast from the time I was 4 years old until I, like, gosh, 17, 18 years old. I finally retired at 18. And so a day in the life as a teenager looked probably a little bit different, from what I think people might think. It was a lot of training. Most days I would, especially during competition season, I'd have to go to the gym prior to school and then go to school. I had a 0 period. I would get credit for PE, so I could leave a period early and go train. And I would be at the gym from, let's call it 3 p.m. to 9. I think pretty much, like, I'd get home by 9:30 and then do homework. I mean, that was like, when you asked what a typical day was, that's what it looked like for the bulk of my adolescence and teen years, preteen and teen years. Heavy competition schedule, traveling, competing, and the whole thing. So that was I was long before music was even a blip on my radar. I had zero interest. I was always a writer, but I had zero interest in, like, pursuing music. I don't even like people looking at me too much. So so the
Right.
idea that it's like, oh yeah, you gonna start singing and have to perform and blah blah blah, that didn't come until much later.
Uh, any obstacles you had to endure growing up in California?
Um, yes, I would say, without making without making anybody feel bad, I would say that the biggest obstacle that I had was navigating my father's drug addiction, and how that ended up kind of shaping a lot of the reality in our home life and how that changed. And then also me not feeling like pity. There was no pity. I just felt like, wow, this is a horrible thing that's happening, but there was still no anger or resentment for the addiction. I felt the obstacle was like, ah, man, really wish this was different. You know what I mean? And then trying to make sure that I was still focused on, sounds crazy to think about it now as a teenager when you talk about being focused on something, but focused on not letting that kind of tarnish my experience that I was having as a young person, because I was a happy young person. Um, that would have been one of the major obstacles. And couple of others that I could think of. I'm not sure if I want to broach at this moment, but
No doubt. No,
couple
no
of
doubt.
others that I
Right.
that's a really good question though. Many people don't ask me that, but I could think of one other time that somebody asked me what obstacles I had to face as a young person.
Right.
Maybe later in the conversation I'll reveal a couple of other things that definitely helped to shape me and shape my wherewithal and resilience and aided me in the music business, especially because I'm a hard sell and I don't I'm not easily manipulated, if at all. And I think it was because of my upbringing and the friends and the family that I had around who are still friends to this day, you know, stand up people, hard body people, you know, like they kind of helped me to understand that I was the same, but I was different,
Right.
you know, and I think those experiences have allowed me to have a type of wherewithal in this industry that's hard to come by. I've seen a lot of people come up and down and, you know, get turned around because of not having enough fortitude, not having enough grounding as well. So yeah, I'm sure we can get into that a little later, but
Right. What type of opportunities did sports present to you?
well, so sports, you know, I very rarely say that I'm not an athlete because I still feel like once an athlete, always an athlete. And I think that it sharpened my mental agility. You know, I think it afforded me that. It also afforded me the opportunity to travel and to compete, you know, and I think where young people are concerned, and myself as a young person then, I felt like it's really healthy to compete, you know, and to understand like, okay, you win some, you lose some, you know, especially gymnastics is such a isolated sport, you know, it's like you have a team, but it's like, it's on you, right?
Right.
It's on you and you got to step up for your team. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like it's siloed, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so I think what gymnastics afforded me and taught me was a certain mentality of, you know, practice, 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 you know, a commitment to the body, to the temple, to like I was definitely not a young person that drank or smoked or, you know, I was square as they come, you know, as far as that goes. But it wasn't square for the sake of being square. It was like, nah, this is my body. Like I gotta use this thing later.
Right.
Even though my friends, you know, were just like, you know, I grew up in um, literally adjacent to Oak Park. Where I went to school was in Oak Park in Sacramento. It's my pride and my joy is Sac High. Actually, I love that place. And you know, we was regular kids, man, doing what kids do when
Right.
they're experimenting and trying things X, Y, Z. But man, I just could not be like, yeah, have fun, have fun. That looks like fun.
Right.
That looks like a lot of fun. But I got to go to the gym later. Like it's not gonna work for me. And then also having the experience, you know, with my father, it was almost kind of like I had another side of it, you know, where it was like partying seemed cool, but it ain't cool, you know.
Right.
So again, what I think, you know, gymnastics and being an athlete afforded me was some grounding, a healthy respect for competition, and recognizing that it was going to be on me to properly prepare and properly execute so that I could do what I needed to do for myself, do what I needed to do for the team, and then also challenge a bunch of fear. You know, I'm a person who struggles with anxiety quite a bit and have since I was young, and gymnastics helped me because I had to focus on the one thing. I couldn't be anxious about too much, and I couldn't be fearful about too many things because as a gymnast, fear is the enemy. You cannot be defying gravity and talking about I'm scared to turn the trick. Like you can't, like you gotta do that. You gotta hit it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think gymnastics gave me an edge that I still use today in 2021, still to this day. And I see the difference from people who are dealing with me as opposed to how they're dealing with other people and kind of thinking that the bar is the same. And I'm like, no, I'm thinking all the time. You know, so it afforded me agility, grounding, you know, a degree of self-confidence that wasn't outside of myself. I didn't have to look at anybody else and draw my value from them, you know, and that could be on some boyfriend, your friends, your peers, whatever. I just have, my value doesn't come from other people. I assess my own value based on what I'm committed to do, or based on what kind of discipline I will require of myself to get something done. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right. Before pursuing music, did you have any other interest in between this time?
I did. I mean, like springboarding from athleticism and gymnastics, it was kind of the belief that I would move into medicine, sports practice specifically, you know, sports medicine specifically. It seemed like the perfect segue because I love sports, like love it, you know, track, field, basketball, gymnastics in any order. But yeah, that kind of was, I think, the thought overall in the family. And then I don't know what happened. I got arrowed, I guess. You know, the creative, the Most High had other plans for me. I had a plan.
Give
Most
us a
High had another.
give us a time frame right now so we can kind of build upon that.
This would have been from 90. This would have been from like 89 to about 92, 93, where I was still like, no, you're gonna have to go to college, you're gonna have to get your MD, your PhD, you're gonna have to practice some form of medicine in regards to sports, da da da. And I mean, and I'm telling you, it was literally like maybe over the course of a 6-month period where I was like, man, I've been writing a lot. Like, let me just look at these things that I'm writing. My grandmother, my maternal grandmother, who I'm named after, actually, my name is Miranda. It's my name on my birth certificate. I've been called Tekitha since I was probably 3 years old. That's my middle name. My full name is Miranda Tekitha Lillian Washington. So both my grandmothers, my maternal and fraternal grandmother, have names, and then I have a name, right?
Right.
And I knew that my grandmother was a poet and would write, and so intelligent, so eloquent, and so well versed. And I feel like, and a beautiful singer as well, right? That's a whole nother chapter that we can talk about later. But I was looking at all the stuff I was writing. I had read stuff of hers that my mother had, you know, shown me over the course of time. And I thought to myself, I probably should like just invest a little bit in what this is, because this is not something I've been taught. This is not something that I don't have a writing class in school. I just made up my mind to sit down one day and turn this poetry into song. I always kind of understood the structure of a song, by the way, which I never had training in either. It wasn't until I really started working with producers and like other musicians, not even producers, like just people who really understood music, that, oh, that time frame is a bar, you know, okay, got it. That's when I started to see the structure. But before I even had the theory, right, I already was writing formatted. I was already writing in a song because I love music. So I'm listening to music all the time. So for me, it's just kind of like, yeah, I think that part should end there. Now do this now. You know what I mean? Switch up. And so, you know, once I kind of invested in reading everything that I, like any notebooks that I could find that I had been jotting in from 13 years old until 18, 19, 20 years old, I just started turning those little pieces of poetry into song. And then that's when I realized, like, oh shit, wait a minute, you like a melody champion. Like you can, I pull melodies out. I got a melody in my head right now, like that started right when we were about to go live, and I had to update the phone. A melody started coming. I was like, "Ooh, that's nice." Wait, focus. you're no, not right now. And so that's when I kind of discovered the art of songwriting, the art of creating music, and and time frame wise, that would have been 90. I would have been 94. Like that would have been around late 93, 94. And it just went on from there. Like I like that's kind of when it happened, when I had to call my mom, like, so I know I had thought I was gonna do.
Right.
No, I think I need to pursue this, and that it was cute for a hot second, and then it was not cute no more. And my mom ended up reaching out to her aunt, who is my grandmother's baby sister, the youngest sister of them all. Her name is my Aunt B. And she went and talked to my Aunt B and my Uncle Leon and was like, Tiki, my family calls me Tiki. She said, Tiki talking about she gonna be making music now. She's not gonna go to college. Like, what is going on? This has been going on for a minute now. Like, we need to have an intervention. we gonna talk to her and let her know that this is not acceptable. And then my Aunt B told my mom that she thought that she should just let me pursue it. Just let me pursue it. And not only that, support me in pursuing it. And then and how it kind of resonated with my aunt in relation to her sister, my grandmother, Miranda, who wanted to pursue music and was absolutely forbid. My great grandfather, Camille, was not having it, not at all. So it was kind of like a dream deferred, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, that this gift, you know, fell upon me, because I really do feel it that way. I promise you, I am not a person that is suited for this business. I prefer quiet, stillness, ready for groups when I want to be ready. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I'm not so much of an attention whore like that. I like the attention of the people I love, but that's like a very tight group. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they have my attention though too. So it's not like I'm trying to clamor for something. Whereas a lot of what I notice in artists and people who pursue entertainment, right?
Right.
For vanity, for fame, or for money. They got like this hole, like some kind of gaping hole that they're trying to fill through that expression, and I know for a fact that I'm not doing that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's kind of how that came to be.
So was there a transition from Cali to New York at this time?
Well, no. So in the timeline, the transition goes, I left California. I went to Atlanta just to see what kind of schools were there in the vein of creative writing. I thought, okay, if you're a writer, then maybe you should go into playwriting or some type of form of creative writing. I still wasn't really sold on music at all. I knew I could do that, but not like professionally. Like, I just wasn't thinking about it in that way. And randomly, when I got there, I ended up connecting with a couple of producers and, you know, other musicians, and I started gradually just singing more and writing more songs. And so it just had a very weird shape. How this thing happened was not planned. It was an authentic kind of thing that happened. And around this time, this would have been 94. I had met up with here it goes. I remember exactly now. I was flying home. I was coming from Atlanta, going to California to come home to visit family. And in the airport, I ran into a friend of mine from home named Michael Scholl. He's an attorney. He was working with a company called the Kingsley Group in Chicago. When he saw me in the airport passing me, and he was like, Tiki, what you doing? I was like, oh shit, oh yeah, man, what's happening? Blah, blah, blah. So we start rapping, and he's like, well, what you doing out here? I was like, it's kind of weird, but I'm like writing songs and stuff. Like, I don't know, like I'm writing songs. He's known me for a very long time. Like, he's known me since maybe 13, 14 years old. And so he's like, writing songs. I was like, I know, it's crazy, but yeah, that's what I'm doing. He's like, I got some people you need to meet in Chicago. And I was like, oh, okay. He's like, yeah, I'm working with this company. They're actually a sports entertainment firm, but they're wanting to branch into music. So shit, let me hear what you got. And then I'm gonna plug a meeting. And I was like, all right, cool. So I go to California, I come back. He introduces me to the VP at the time at that company. His name was Holman Harley. And so we end up having a meeting. Harley, Mike Scholl, myself. I don't know if his wife Renee was there or not at that first meeting, but in any case, headed off like gangbusters, like I mean, family, like almost instant family type vibes, right? And he's like, I need to bring you to Chicago so you can meet the head of this company, and let's figure some stuff out. So I'm like, cool. So I go to Chicago and I get the grand tour around, and I mean, it's a beautiful office. It's like, NBA, NCAA, like they represent everybody, their mama, like it's a whole thing. And they're like, yeah, we just want to get this, record company vibes going, and let's see what you got. And so, long story short, they give me kind of like a management deal, a pseudo kind of management deal situation, and I was with them for about maybe the better part of 6 months, I would say. And from that, sprung ahead to New York. And that was really kind of a fluke as well. While I was in Chicago, a friend of mine from home came to visit. This was 1995 during Million Man March, actually. And he came to visit and was like, oh my God, so you making music? Let me hear what you got. I had 3 songs. I played him the songs, and he stole the tape. It was a tape. He stole the tape from me when he left. I was like, where the fuck? I can't find this shit nowhere. Where's the fucking tape at? Can't find it. He had taken it and went to DC because he was going for the Million Man March. I had no idea that he even knew Wu-Tang or anything like that, but he was hanging around some of the folks at Wu-Tang management, blah, 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 blah. Unbeknownst to me, he's played the tape for everybody. And that following Monday, whatever day it was coming up, I get a call at the office. I just happened to be at the office, and I used to go over there every few days or whatever. You just go in there, you're sitting in the office, you just hanging out. I just happened to be in the office that day, and somebody called and said, oh, Tekitha, you have a call on blah, blah, line. I pick up the phone. It's this man on the phone talking about peace. This Tekitha? I said, yes. This is Howard Edwards. I'm calling for Wu-Tang Productions. I was like, ah! I started laughing because it sounded like my brother, and my brother is a jokester. So I said, ooh, Damon, don't be playing on this phone, man. You can't call up here playing on the phone. And I hung up. Like, this is the office. You can't do this here. Like, nah. I hang up. Dude calls back. Tekitha, this is Howard Edwards calling from Wu-Tang Productions. I'm trying to holler at you about your music. I was like, oh, okay. Unsolicited, had no clue about nothing. I like the rest of the world, had heard, Bring the Pain, I'm sure, at that time. Method Man, maybe. I think that was probably out by then. I had heard, I heard the Cream. I had heard the records, but I was not pursuing no Wu-Tang Clan, And so that is actually what ended up bringing me to New York for my first meet and greet, which was a meet and greet of everybody at one time. They brought me in to, ironically, they had a taping at MTV. And so when I landed from the airport, showered up, changed, got myself together, Power brought me in from, I think, Brooklyn or Staten Island, wherever I was, came into the city, and then literally met the entire clan all at one time. And then RZA was the last person that I met. And when I came into his green room area, he was like, oh, you Tekitha? He said, yeah, we've been bumping your shit. Like, that shit cold. I was like, oh, okay. Mind you, I'm from California. I've probably been in New York this time twice. So I'm like, oh, great. That's great. He's like, sing something for us. I was like, no. I was like, no. I said, like, what, like Showtime at the Apollo? Like, you just said you've been listening to this shit the whole time. Like, so I started laughing. He was like, oh shit. She said, fuck that, I ain't singing. Where the check at? So we have a good laugh about that. And then boom. And here's the funny thing too. Method Man, my first time meeting everybody, Meth comes up to me singing one of the songs. It was a song called Unknown. And the hook was something like, wondering, what will a new day bring? Many lights, with it, something like that. I know that was the melody. So he walks up to me, he's like, oh, you Tekitha? And starts singing my song to my face in the green room at MTV. holy shit, where am I, blood? How did this happen to me? Like, what is this? Oh, and by myself. I wasn't traveling with nobody. I was by myself. So, you know, this I could not have written any of this. This is all to this very minute. I still sit here. There are still occurrences that are going on, and I'm like, I don't even know how this is happening. I'm just showing up, you know. I'm
Right.
trying to show out. So that would have been 95, which was pretty much like
That's
a good 6 months
Raekwon.
after me working on music.